There we go. How about that? Now, everybody should be muted, but you can unmute yourself and ask questions at any time. And we'll try to launch this. Hopefully everybody can see this. Yes. All right. Let me turn over to answer a student's question in the chat room. Hold on just a minute. All right. Great. Let's see if we can get going here. All right, I hope everybody can see that screen. Welcome, Finance 161, Personal Finance. This is the very second class that I've ever taught via Zoom. So if I do something like make a mistake, hey, you know what? We all make mistakes. That's okay. You can also give me tips. You can chat. You can ask me questions in the discussion room. We are going to examine personal finance, and there's a very powerful rule that you'll learn. All right. Basically, it says live below your means. All right. Always follow this rule, and you'll always be powerful with money. Yeah. All right. So who am I? Professor Rhoades. All right. I've been teaching about, this is my 10th year of teaching, 6th year at Western Kentucky University. I'm also an attorney. Been an attorney since 1986, a investment advisor since 2001, and a certified financial planner since 2005. I still have a law practice down in Florida, just very few select clients that I continue to do some estate planning work for. I still serve clients for financial planning needs, and we're actually going to explore some of that on Friday rather. And so I still have a practice of that regard. But my full-time job is teaching. I also do a lot of advocacy work and the like up in Washington on something called the fiduciary standard, which we'll learn about. You can ask questions at any time. Right? So all you have to do is go to the chat room. I hope that you have the chat room open. All right. And I'm just going to type in welcome there again so that you can see that. All right. And you can unmute your audio and ask a question as well. So back to this. We have an anonymous poll. That's wonderful. Now I just have to figure out how to launch the poll. All right. This is where technology challenges me. You can tell this is only my second class teaching in Zoom, and somehow somewhere there is a way of getting that up, but I don't see it. Where are you? Are we supposed to be able to view my computer screen right now? Somebody asked me. Yes. Can you see the slide that says let's explore Zoom?
No.
Nobody can see that. Okay. I'm going to work to get this fixed then. Hold on just a minute. How about almost? There we go. How about now? Can you see it now? This is where I need to reset things up. All right. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know. All right, so let's explore the chat room real quick. First off, first question to ask is, what is your favorite hobby or activity? And I'll type in mine, and everybody else can answer just so that we get used to using the chat room. So first question, what is your favorite hobby or activity? Fishing, hiking, painting. Interesting. Okay. Another fisher. Golf. Running. Learning American Sign Language. Interesting. Fishing, sewing, volleyball. Fishing again, working out, being outdoors, working and making money. There's an entrepreneur for you. All right. Working out in football, gaming. All right. Golfing up there again. I did really well playing golf last week. I shot 67. And then on the back nine, I shot 70. Yeah. Kayaking. That's one of my favorite things too. And soccer and photography. Real good. Okay. So next question. Do you like bears? Just put in there, bears are smelly. Yes, of course. Okay. You all are so nice. Just a couple no's and all right. All right. Now, there is a way here to raise your hand on Zoom. And I'm going to try to find it. Raise your hand. As you can see, even though I've done a lot of work trying to learn technology this summer and also redesigning this class, I still have some problems. So we will try to skip that and maybe go to the next question. All right. All right. Why save? Why invest? Why make good financial decisions? All good questions to ask. Why don't we explore Blackboard a little bit, and we will do we'll go over basically the structure of this course and how it works and things that we can do to kind of understand how the course is laid out and the like. All right, so hopefully you're still seeing my screen. Just confirm that. If somebody could type, are you seeing the announcement in screen? Okay, great. All right, so we have announcements, and I'm going to announce, give you the Zoom link the morning of. It's also going to be posted elsewhere. There are some links here. First is to the syllabus. All right. The syllabus is going to be subject to modification, but you can download it there. And there are points to be awarded for each assignment. There are 1,000 points in this class, so every point is worth 0.1. I'm still building this class out. All right. I didn't want to have you pay $60 for a textbook, so I'm building this class out on a Thinkific platform, which is free for you, of course, and you're lucky that it is. There's a lot of small assignments in this class as opposed to like one big class. So it's important that you, let me see if I can expand that. I'll show the grid video. Hold on just a minute. There we go. All right. A lot of small assignments. You'll see a whole bunch of assignments here. They are designed to basically go through a learning process with you that follows a long-term memory formation. It's a little bit different from what some of you may have been expecting. All right. There's a link to the Thinkific, and I'm going to launch that here now and see what happens. All right. So this is where you enroll for free in personal finance. You click that on, you put in your name and your email, and then you should be able to access all of these modules. And there are modules here. There are 9 modules already loaded. There'll probably be another 20 modules or so that I'm building out here. So you can do that. And if I were to sign in here, and I can do this differently, I have to do this a different way here. Let's see. So I go to my courses. I see that 14 people are enrolled in the course. So we have a lot of people who still need to sign up in this course, Personal Finance. And this is my platform, so it shows you how it's loading for me. And I can preview this and see it. All right, so here's module 1, for example. This basically explores how to learn more efficiently and effectively. You start there, you watch a video, and then you can complete and continue when you've done all the reading there. And it goes on to the next, which just talks about the required materials for the course, and then you can go on from there. So these modules are not designed to take a huge amount of time. They are shorter modules. Kind of think about like 3 modules to a chapter, something like that, but it's actually less than that. From the standpoint of how much reading there is to do in this course compared to a textbook and the like. We'll stop that. So I'll get back here, but that's the link to Thinkific, just to show you the platform. It's basically designed to space out your learning quite a bit. We have some Quizlets that are also available. Quizlets for a review of each module. There's a combined Quizlet for the first exam review as well, and I'll let you explore that. You can also schedule a conference with me by going to calendly.com. All right, you can schedule a 10-minute one-on-one meeting with me, either Zoom or telephone call. You can do group meetings with me as well, also 30-minute meetings. So you have your option on what to do there. And during one of the weeks in class, I'm going to ask that everyone schedule a meeting with me as a checkup on what you're doing and how you're doing. And then the core is basically found in these weeks. So we open up one of these folders here. And here's just a note where he says, we're going to space out the learning. This is how to upload completed assignments to Blackboard. If you've never used Blackboard before, this might help you, because some of the assignments that are done, you'll be uploading Word documents to them. I encourage you to work ahead on an assignment. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's reading a book. It's here provided for you as a PDF file. Here's the assignment itself, both as a Word document and a PDF file. It's not due until the Sunday after Thanksgiving, but things kind of get compressed towards the end of the semester. So I really recommend that you read that, work ahead. There's nothing that's a prerequisite to doing that. It should take you about 2 to 4 hours to read, and then the 400-word essay will take some time. I strongly recommend that you get this done ahead of time and then submit your essay to the Writing Center before you submit it to me. So try to get that done weeks ahead of time, submit it to the Writing Center. You can do that online. When you do that, they will review it for you. It's free. Give you some tips. The goal of this assignment, the major goal, is to make you a better writer. One of the big things that employers are looking for is outstanding writing skills. And that's one of the major reasons for this assignment. But it's also probably the most powerful book in personal finance, even though the book is 100 years old, almost 100 years old. All right, so we go here, and of course, here's the first class session. And again, I'm going to be putting here with every class session the links to the Zoom. I'll also send out an email, as I did this morning. And due by Tuesday night, please complete the Thinkific module. And also due is a short discussion board post where you basically post upon what you learned in module 1, and also you make some comments on other people's posts. Here you look at 5 posts and then select a supportive or a congratulatory comment on the best one. And you can also then modify your own post by basically posting a reply to it. Due by Wednesday is questions about you. Some of you have already done this. It takes about 15 to 25 minutes. It helps me to learn more about you, any particular issues that you might have. It also really helps me to form teams in the class. We're going to be doing some teamwork, teams of only 3 to 4 students each, where you'll be reviewing some of the material in teams before we come back together as a class in Zoom class. So that really helps me to form those teams. And then Wednesday, we'll have our second class section, and you can already see the PowerPoints lined up for that. And then module 2, again, these are short modules. Readings and videos are due by Thursday evening. And there's a short quiz. The quizzes are pretty short. If you do the readings, you shouldn't have any problems with the quizzes. Now, this is the very first time I've used the Thinkific platform, and I'm trying to test some of the things out. So one of the questions that I will have for you later is, how are the quizzes going? I can actually get a report on your grades, which of course do affect your grades, but I believe I've set it up so that you'd actually do a quiz, and then you can go back and do it again. And I'm kind of wondering, I'll be asking some questions to say, how are you approaching the quizzes? On Friday, we're going to have 2 guest speakers via Zoom. One is a client of a personal financial advisor. I give some information about her there. And then a financial advisor from the largest financial planning firm in the state of Kentucky. It's called Argy. Their home office is based out of Louisville. They do have an office in Bowling Green, and that will be a WKU graduate. And then you'll be doing a discussion board posting by Friday about lifetime goals. These discussion board posts shouldn't take you too long to do. It's important to get all the work done on time. And then another discussion board post about personality traits of a personal financial advisor. You can work ahead on these. And then Sunday is module 3, readings, videos, and quizzes. So that's kind of an indication of that. What do we do next week? Just to show you, we review the modules. So this is where we start working in teams to review modules and then going over some of the concepts in class. All right. And then of course we have another assignment here for next Tuesday, and then some getting set up with what's called You Need a Budget. So then we get it back into module 4, and then module 4 class preparation assignment. This is the first thing that requires you to submit a big document, and then module 5 and the like. So I've got that set up for about the first 5 or 6 weeks of class. I'll be adding content after that. And then we go down here. The only thing that's left is about the bear. So we have all these things that here are in Blackboard. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in chat, or you can unmute yourself. We do have 56 people in this class. Let's go back to the slides here. All right. So I've done that. Can I go back here? We went over how to schedule a conference with me for you Calendarly. You can also, by the way, just text me if it's an urgent thing, and you can email me. Emails, I look at them every day, and usually I can get back to you within 24 hours, if not a lot faster. So that's a good way of asking a question as well. All right. Grades are posted to Blackboard. And I try to be fairly quick on grades. There are 56 of you in this class, so if there's a big written assignment that I have to grade, it might take me several days to get everything done, but I try to get things graded pretty quickly. We've gone over the assignments this week. Now, I'd like to try to launch a poll if I can. So polling. All right. First poll is, how are you feeling right now about this class? Are you very, very anxious, somewhat anxious, excited, or just chilling? So let's see everybody answer that poll. Wow. Great responses. 94% of you have voted, 55 out of 58. That's great. I think I'll end the poll there, 56 out of 58, and share the results with you. All right. Somewhat anxious or very, very anxious. It is very common to be anxious, especially on the first day of class. It usually takes about a week or two to kind of settle in. And I got to tell you, I'm somewhat anxious because I'm not a big user of technology. There's a reason I became a personal financial planning and law career. As opposed to computer science and stuff. So I'm kind of using a lot of this technology for the first time, kind of learning it, as you can see. So I have a little bit of anxiety in that regard. All right. Some of you are excited and 50% of you are chilling. Well, that's interesting. All right. So let's see here. Then the question is, how do I go to the next poll? And polling. That's not going to work. Here I am. I thought I was doing great with this technology and I'm not. So what I'd like you to do is answer in the discussion board. All right. Answer in the discussion board, the chat room rather. All right. How are you an above average driver, an average driver, or an below average driver? Everybody will just go into the chat room and answer there. We'll see what the answers are. Above average, average, above average, 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 above average, fast. Okay. Yeah. Average, above average, not a driver yet, not unusual in these days, fairly average, average, above average. Yeah. You know, unfortunately, this is not a scientific poll because it's not. This, by the way, is Roxy, my dog, who is a mix between a Scottish Terrier and a Dachshund. It's a really strange dog, a little bit on the long side, okay? And she hopped up here in my lap, so I'm going to let her down. Yeah, got to get to work. All right. So when I do this poll with an actual poll, what I find is that the majority, there are a lot more people who say they're above average than they are below average. Now, nobody probably wanted to actually say I'm below average here, all right? And that really shows us that there's an overconfidence bias. People tend to believe they have more abilities than the average person does. And that overconfidence bias shows up in a lot of our decision making about different things. We'll go back here. So, how much sleep does the average college student ages 17 to 24 need? Why don't we answer that in the chat room as well? All right, 8, 9 to 10, 7 to 8, 9.25 from AJ, 12 hours. 6, 5.5 with Starbucks. Yes, I think I've had a little bit too much caffeine this morning on myself. I'm like on my 6th Diet Pepsi right now. All right, 8, and so forth. All right, good, 6.5. All right, well, the actual answer of that is 9.25 hours according to some studies, about 8 to 9 hours according to other studies. So 9 out of 4 hours is, and we're going to explore that a little bit later in this course with some videos. If you are yawning before 5 o'clock, even after a big lunch or something like that, you have not gotten enough sleep. That's really the easy test for that. And sleep is extremely important in terms of its learning, because if you don't get enough sleep, basically your mind becomes like in a fog. And the reason for this is your cells, all of the cells in your body produce a lot of waste. And your lymphatic system, which kind of runs alongside your pulmonary system, your blood vessels, basically remove that waste. But in the brain, there are no lymphatic vessels. There's a different mechanism there. All that cerebral or cerebral fluid that's on the outside of your brain during the daytime, when you sleep, and especially during the latter stages of sleep, basically your brain kind of opens up passageways into the brain. And that cerebral fluid goes into the brain and removes all that waste. And if you don't get enough sleep, you wake up the next day, you might feel like you're in a fog, but literally you are in a fog because there's a lot of waste there in your brains that interfering with neural connections and the like. Yeah. So learning process, just a lot of people will cram for exams and put that into their short-term memory and some of their long-term memory, but it doesn't really consolidate their memories. And if you've ever gone like from one year to another year or one semester to another, and you say, I can't remember what I learned last year, right? Well, in college, it's really important to learn and then be able to build on that with other classes. So what we have to work on is getting things into long-term memory and making it stick in long-term memory. And the way that we do that is making sure we get enough sleep, because when you get enough sleep, right, first, it helps you to perceive that, right? You need to perceive it, sense it by seeing it, by hearing it, by tasting, smelling, and you have to have the intent in yourself to say, this is important, I didn't remember this. And of course, pay attention. And that gets it into your short-term memories. Getting things from short-term memory to long-term memory, this is really simplifying the process. Basically, most of that happens in sleep. It can also happen with short naps, by the way. If you don't get enough sleep, a lot of those memories that are in their short-term memory, which is buried way deep in your brain, don't get to your cerebral cortex, or they don't get there as strongly as they could. So getting a good night's sleep helps basically move that stuff into the long-term memory section of the brain, where it then gets consolidated. And then we need to strengthen it. Now, a lot of you have probably heard for a lot of your learning, best way of learning is to take out a textbook, read it, and then go back, highlight it, reread it again, and like. That's actually not the most efficient and effective way of learning. It's not a bad way, but it's not the most efficient way. The most efficient way is to space out your learning, so you don't do it all at one time. You do one day, you do some learning the next day, you come back to that material, and you retrieve things out of memory. When you retrieve things out of memory, such as by doing a quiz or by doing a Quizlet, which is kind of like flashcards, or going over the material in class where you're asked to recall things out of memory, all of that basically strengthens your memories, your long-term memories, a lot more than just rereading the material. And so it's a lot more efficient way, and it's also more effective to get things into long-term memory. So that what we're doing here, this learning methodology with these modules that we do and the short quizzes followed by some assignments, followed by this class discussions, we are spacing out the learning in class. And we are also undertaking what's called retrieval practice. So we know a lot more about learning than we used to. And I see some yawns actually already. So you didn't get enough sleep. All right, that's okay, but we want you to get more sleep. We're also doing something called interleaving. For example, we might touch on, for example, investments fairly early on in the course, but I might come back to that 2 weeks later or 4 weeks later. We might do some other stuff in between. Same for budgeting. We might do some budgeting initially and come back to budgeting. So as we go through different topics, you won't see topics clumped together. By spacing those topics out, it's called interleaving. It helps basically help you connect all the dots. All right. Again, if you have any questions, you can do those in the chat room, or you can open up and ask a question by opening the microphone. So repetition, readings, videos, and short quizzes. Those are done through the Thinkific platform. Discussion board posts or class preparation assignments. Class preparation assignments are basically after you do the readings and videos, sometimes you will have a Word document that you download that has some questions on it. And those questions generally require an essay response, a short essay. It could be 2 or 3 sentences sometimes for each question and the like. And then during class, we're going to review what you've gone over. And I'm going to add some additional perspective to that. Then before you go on, each time you hit a new module, you'll see a review of the prior module. You also see some Quizlets. It's a good idea to do those Quizlets. They don't take very long. That helps, again, you're going over material from before. Quizlets are like online flashcards, and I've already set them up for you. And then we will have a review session before each exam. There are some myths about sleep. One is you only need 8 hours of sleep a night. Again, college students need more. Staying in bed and counting sheep helps you fall asleep. Not really. Watching TV or using your phone is a good way to relax. We know a lot more about this. There are actually some settings on your phone or other devices that help with terms of the light so that you don't activate some of the some things that might help you prevent you from getting to sleep. You can catch up sleep at the weekend, and the answer is not really. All right. I know a lot of you are used to staying up later on weekends. What happens when you do that is basically it's not just how much sleep that you get. Some of the more recent research shows that consistent sleep is just as important as getting enough good quality sleep. And when you stay up later on the weekends, you end up getting something called social jet lag. What happens is when you stay up later, to try to shift you back to a normal schedule, your brain only allows you to shift back about 20 to 25 minutes per night. So for example, if you stayed up to 2 o'clock in the morning, and then you try to the next night go to sleep at 12, or in terms of waking up, you got up later and then you try to get up early the next day, your body doesn't respond very well to that. Right? So try to get a consistent sleep time. A myth is about short power naps are bad for you. Actually, short naps are pretty good. What is in your short-term memory only lasts there for 36 hours. It begins to degrade. The length of your nap is very important. Never try to take a nap for longer than an hour. For some people, 30 minutes is all they need, an hour, but naps can be very helpful in terms of learning. So yes, sleep helps you manage your emotions, helps you concentrate, improves your decision making, and exercise can help you sleep at night as long as you don't exercise within about 2 to 3 hours of when you go to sleep. So get your exercise done earlier in the day, and definitely improves your memory, without a doubt. All right. I like to say that sleep makes you happier. It actually improves your mood. And as we'll see, it also leads to some really good things. So upcoming schedule. By Tuesday, Module 1 readings, videos, short quizzes. This is done on the Thinkific platform. And then back to Blackboard for discussion board postings and comments that are due. Wednesday, we're going to have a class session. By 2 o'clock on Wednesday, all the answers I'd like to get on questions about you so I can start looking at those and forming teams. We have a lot of students in this class, 56 or so. By Thursday, Module 2 readings and the like. By Friday, we're going to have 2 guest speakers, as I mentioned. Should be very informative, and you have a discussion board posting by Friday night. Again, you can work ahead on these things, and I encourage you to do that. Another short discussion board posting by Saturday night, and Module 3 readings by Sunday. It sounds like a lot, but again, these are relatively short assignments, and the spacing out does help you in terms of learning. Now, again, anytime you have a real question about this class, about WKU, about the finance department, about careers, even if it's not related to finance, or if you are here at WKU and you're stuck, maybe you get depressed or you're overly anxious, or something comes up in your life and you just don't know where to turn, you can call the bear. That's me. So I may not know the answer, but chances are I can connect you with resources on campus that can help you out. A lot of times, hopefully I will know the answer, be able to give you some guidance and the like. So don't go through life saying, hey, I'm stuck, all right? And Holly Drake asked a good question. How many people's discussion board posts do we need to comment on? Some of the discussion board posts where you do your own post and then you get to comment on others, I've set up so that you review 5 of them. And then what you're looking for is like the best discussion board post of those 5, and you comment on it. Other than the discussion board posts that we do, I'm going to ask you to comment on a minimum of 2. So it's in the instructions for each discussion board assignment. Good question, Holly. All right. Expand your comfort zone exercises. All right, let me go through that with you a little bit. And I am going to pull over Blackboard document here and show you where that is. Getting there. Technology. I have 3 screens set up. So moving things from one screen to the other, not always a good thing. Here we go, discussion boards. And you'll see discussion boards there on, we've already kind of gone over. But then you'll see expand your comfort zone assignments. And I'll just pull up that real quick. All right, what are they? They're basically goals, challenges that you take on yourself. And love to have you explore this. Why do we do expand your comfort zone challenges? Because it's going to make you a better person and a better, more attractive to employers, essentially. All right. Successful people challenge themselves. They grow personally. All right? So there are 4 groups of activities. Group A would be say yes, become a yes person. Say, as people ask you to do something, you normally say no, say yes to it. Very important is join a club or another organization. If you are a freshman on campus, I can tell you time after time, I have talked with students and I say, when you got to college, what made college work for you? And almost always they say, you know, I really wasn't involved with WKU or whatever college they were going to until such time as I joined a couple of new clubs and organizations and I started meeting new people, not just the people that you knew from high school. And that's when they really started making new friends with those clubs or organizations. Now, so that's an activity that you can do and then post about it through this. And I think it's probably the most valuable activity that a freshman can do. I would encourage you to set a goal of like 3 to 4 weeks out to have at least 2 or 3 clubs or organizations that you've at least visited, gone to their meeting, tried them out. You know, if you go to a meeting and you don't connect with people there, you don't think it's for you, you don't have to go again. So a big one is performing on karaoke night. Surprisingly, a lot of seniors do that. Give people 3 compliments, perform 3 active random acts of kindness, and don't spend money on doing that. Smile at everybody you pass by, which is kind of hard to do when you're wearing a mask. Also sitting with someone who's eating alone, maybe not the best thing to do this semester. Speaking up in class when you normally would not do that. Yeah. So everybody's a little scared. I think a lot of people have anxiety, especially when it comes to talking with professors or speaking with other people in class. Let me say something about that. All right. This class is a safe zone. What do I mean by that? It means that we are there to help each other. Right? We don't judge each other. I think in our society, we tend to judge other people a lot. I have to assess you. I have to grade you and hold you accountable. But beyond that, I don't know where you've been that day. I don't know what your background is. You might be doing something that's extraordinary for you in terms of getting out of your comfort zone, talking, something like that. It's okay to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. So we're going to go through this class basically trying to avoid judging each other and trying to help each other out. Right? We're going to be there for each other. If somebody gets stuck answering a question, for example, the teammates, for example, can help them out and the like, or anybody else in class can help them out. Now, there are some Group B activities, so later you'll be doing Group B activities here. One of the most popular ones is unplugging your TV and video games for an entire week. Turning off your phone for an entire day. Make sure other people know that you're doing that. Disconnecting from social media, establishing SMART goals, letting go your own self-judgment for a day. Here's a very popular one. Just go to sleep 1 hour earlier for 4 nights a week and make a journal as to how you're reacting to that. Do that for 4 nights straight to get a really good idea of that. And then change eating habits, getting in shape, using the writing center, going to the student health center for counseling. And when you do that, you just would privately email me as opposed to posting to the discussion board. That's fine. And something that's very, very powerful, I really recommend it. It looks great on your resume, is the Dynamic Leadership Institute here on campus. It doesn't take a lot of time every semester. It's like 4 or 5 hours of time. I think you ought to explore it because employers love to see students who have undertaken leadership training or put themselves in where they're learning about leadership. There's some more programs here that are a little bit more longer than that relating to leadership. There's a National Society for Leadership and Success. And you can also apply for scholarships through our Office of Scholar Development, where you do some research and things. Probably not a lot of field trips this fall, unfortunately, but we are going to try to bring in some guest speakers instead. And then there's some Group C and Group D activities. So I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what these activities are. My point about this is don't choose something that's the easiest thing for you to do. I've came across two brothers who were in my class at one point, and they seemed really outgoing and the like. But at the same time, they identified as introverts. Introversion, as we'll learn, is a strength. It's not a weakness. And I asked her, how did you get to be so outgoing and the like? And they said, every day when our mother sent us off to school, she would say, do one thing today that scares you. And as a result, although they didn't know it, they didn't conceptualize it that way, they were expanding their comfort zone a little bit each day. All right, so let me close this out, get back to our slides here. Okay. There we go. All right, so what I'd like to do is show you a video now on why do we want to expand our comfort zone. And I need to move that over here. Hold on, give me a minute. It is 11:03, so we have time for this. This is about a 5-minute video.
But also factoring in the professional.
Bring that back to the beginning. Here we go.
If you had never done anything that made you nervous, where would you be right now? Most of us would have never have gone to school. We would have never had applied for a job, and we would have never have gone on a date. It's only when we embrace these challenges that make us nervous and get outside of our comfort zone that we're able to grow and experience these bigger things. Over the past few years, I've become really fascinated by this idea of getting out of my comfort zone. I've been very proactive in scaring myself by jumping out of airplanes, traveling across the world, and facing a number of personal fears. And what I've come to realize is that every time I get out of my comfort zone, it changes my outlook. It puts other challenges into perspective. Most importantly, it enables me to become comfortable with the things that used to absolutely terrify me. And so, the more that I've come to see the benefit of getting outside of my comfort zone, the more passionate I've become about encouraging others to do the same. And in January, I began to wonder, what can I do to inspire other people to get out of their comfort zone and give them that little push that they need? And I had an idea. I wanted to show people a visual representation of what their comfort zone looks like right now and what it could be and what that would mean for them, in the hope that by seeing the difference between the two, they'd be motivated towards that goal by doing things that are outside of their comfort zone. Unfortunately for me, there was no metric or device for measuring comfort zones. So I began to question, what if you could measure your comfort zone? When we talk about comfort zones, we're referring to a form of mental conditioning that we all experience that creates these artificial mental boundaries that determine what we believe we can and can't do. So if we were to measure someone's comfort zone, we'd need to identify what that person believes they can and can't do. And not just whether they're prepared to go skydiving or bungee jumping, but also factoring in the professional and general life challenges that we all experience. So I found a way to do this, and I developed an algorithm for measuring comfort zones, which has since been confirmed as scientifically valid by a registered psychologist at Deakin University. I put this algorithm into a tool for anyone to use. And within the first few months, over 10,000 people had measured their comfort zone. This meant that 10,000 people had spent a fraction of their day thinking about getting outside of their comfort zone. Now, I believe that every action begins in the form of an idea. And if 10,000 people had just absorbed this idea of getting out of their comfort zone, that could be the start of some amazing actions for those people. It also meant that I now had data. I had this huge database containing everyone's scores and information on all the different challenges they believe they can and can't do. So I was able to begin looking for insights and trends. I found that on average, males had a larger comfort zone than females. I found that our comfort zone changes as we get older. It can either shrink or grow, depending on how much we challenge ourselves over a lifetime. Perhaps the most interesting thing I found was that there was a positive correlation between how much we get out of our comfort zone and how much money we earn. When I first looked through this data, I really wanted to try and understand what the people who had scored the highest were like and who those people were. So I ordered the results from highest to lowest. And I noticed that the people who had scored in the top 1% were incredibly interesting, successful people. These were athletes, entrepreneurs, and people who were clearly excelling in their field. And this wasn't a coincidence. These people had become successful by pushing their boundaries, challenging themselves, and getting outside of their comfort zone. So this made it very clear to me. If you want something you don't already have, you have to do something you haven't already done. That's what these people have made a habit of doing. We all have this comfort zone, which determines what we believe we can and can't do. And if you're not being proactive in pushing your boundaries and getting outside of your comfort zone, you're effectively surrendering all of the amazing opportunities and possibilities that exist outside of your comfort zone. And that doesn't have to limit you. So I challenge you to do something this week that's outside of your comfort zone. Because as the saying goes, there are great things waiting for you just outside of it. Thank you.
All right. See if I can skip out of there. Uh-oh. Find my cursor. Where are you? There we go. Stop that. All right. How to request. What about going over what is due? And I will try to open that up right now. Get that over here. Blackboard. Personal finance. Where do we go? We go to week 1 again. And we look at week 1 and look to see what's due. All right. So by Tuesday, please complete Thinkific Module 1. That's readings, videos, and a couple of real quick quiz questions. All right. Also by Tuesday, 11:59, a discussion board posting and comments on other people's posts on Module 1. And then due by Wednesday is questions about you. Wednesday, we're going to do some work with teams and go through some basic questions about financial planning. And then due by Thursday is Module 2 readings, and then we go on from there with some guest speakers on Friday. Now, I'm going to try to end the class here. I'm going to hang out for a few minutes. If you want to ask me questions, you can do that either through the chat room or just unmuting yourself. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you, Jace.
Dr. Rhoades.
Yes.
So whenever we're submitting an assignment, does it? I know some other professors, they want us to make it like a Google Doc or a PDF of some sort. Do you require that as well?
I like it in Word format.
Okay.
If at all possible. It's a lot easier for me to grade Word documents in terms of adding comments and like. But if for some reason you can't type it or don't want to type it, you can actually submit it as a scanned document as well.
Okay.
Handwritten would be fine. Okay.
Okay. Because I did the About You assignment that's due on Wednesday, and I didn't.
Yep.
I did it on my MacBook. I didn't accept make
Yeah.
it a different document. Would you like me to go back in and change what kind of document it's in?
AJ, I think I've already looked at it. Um, it you probably submitted as a Pages file.
I
I'm
think
on a
so.
MacBook too, so I can pull that up. But in the future, just try to save it as a Word file and then upload it as a Word.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Any other questions? Great. Rachel, I see that you were able to log into Thinkific. Glad that worked out. You helped me understand.
I had to log in first. I didn't realize that at first. That you had to do that to click on the module.
Well, that's helping me out. The fact that you had a problem helps me out in terms of helping other students when it kind of took me a while to figure out what was going on there. So I appreciate the email. Thank you. All right, I'm going to end the class now, and we'll see you on Wednesday, unless I get an email or something from you before.